regulations were tens of thousands of pages. So what you're going to have to do there, what's going to happen there, and they're moving it. I mean, that is going through Congress. President Trump knows the way to do that is repeal, replace, and that I think you're going to see. I think that whole thing is going to be wrapped up. Now there may be a transition period. I think it's going to be wrapped up in 90 days.
All right. So would it be fair to say that if they roll back regulations and executive fiat, and they eliminate Obamacare and they replace Obamacare, that 90% of everything Obama's done in the last 8 years is wiped clean?
Well, on the domestic front, certainly, because if you look at what are his two signature achievements domestically, it would be Obamacare in his view and his immigration reform. Well, those are both gone. Now, on the international front, what he's done to Israel, which we've talked about before, that rolling back, you can't roll back a UN Security Council resolution. That's the problem. But the Congress and the president should tell the United Nations, you know what? We're not giving you $22 billion, whatever the crazy number is, to basically support the Organization of the Islamic Conference, because that's who runs the UN. So you've got a potential U.S. ambassador to Israel, and David Friedman, who will be excellent. You've got a president that says he will move the capital to Jerusalem. I think he does that on Israel's timetable, and that's important. And you know Bibi, he knows when the right time, when it's going to be, because they've got to worry about the neighbors. Right. But I think you're going to see a sea change differential there. But on the international front, they got a big job.
Just saying radical Islam in his inaugural speech today.
I said that today. All he got up there and says, thank you, took the oath of office, so help me God, radical Islamic terrorist. I would have said, you know what, stay down, done enough. We haven't heard that in 8 years. No, and you know what? The fact of the matter is that's the fight.
Let me take this a step further. So if the executive orders get wiped out, Obamacare is wiped out, okay, there's no success. Our relationship with Israel's never been worse. What he did in Libya has been a disaster. It's now a safe haven for terrorists and terrorist training in North Africa. Then you add, Iran, that deal. Then you have Iraq and Afghanistan, disasters.
Right.
You know, our relationship with Putin and Russia, there was no reset. It's never been worse.
Oh, it's reset to worse.
Okay, China, same thing.
Right.
Our European allies don't have the respect for us that they once had, so I don't see any foreign policy success. Now, is this a fair statement? When all is said and done, the only legacy of Obama, it'll be almost like he's never been there, but he took on more debt than every other president before him combined, and the bad judges he appointed.
And Kagan and Sotomayor as Supreme Court justices, and then the lower courts. And, you know, we talk about the Supreme Court, but the fact
about
is...
100 appointments?
Yeah, and the fact is that most of the cases are decided by the courts of appeals, not the Supreme Court. And he has reshaped the judiciary. And there's a legacy. Now, for Donald Trump to undo that, you need 4 years is good, 8 years would be better. But in 4 years, you look at the age of most of the courts. I mean, we do the demographics on the age of the judge. You've got a lot of courts that were conservative. 4th Circuit was generally conservative. 11th Circuit, where Bill Pryor sat, was generally conservative.